My beautiful people, yes, this is Good Morning GP, and as you can see, we're on the desk. That means we're going to have a fun conversations here on Good Morning GP. In fact, we're doing a book review, and guess what? Yes, we have Ntatembulelo Maikana. Yes, guys, we're going to cover one of the books from the series of his books, Contemporary Conversations, which is a female hypergamy. Well, he will, break the book down for us, but I know that female hypergamy, it helps both sides, gender and male and female, to understand especially what a female influences, what the influence of their decision making comes from, or where it comes from rather. But before we get into it, good morning and thank you so much for joining us in Ntatembulelo.
Good morning, Ria.
It's always a pleasure. Look, and this one is an interesting one because I did read it, and some parts I was like, no, I'm disagreeing with it. But then at the end, you actually start realizing it when you're in your surroundings and all of that. But, maybe just to explain what female hypergamy is.
Yeah. Female hypergamy is a concept that seeks to define the decision-making that happens within females and what influences that, especially when it comes to mating and relationships. And it is a concept that is common, whether perhaps we're talking about animals or we're talking about human beings. If you look at animals, for instance, female animals will only mate with a dominant male. They will not mate with a weak male. Now, dominance by animals is shown in different ways. They would actually show it means maybe by fighting each other. I'm talking about males fighting each other, and the winner is the one that would then, get the female. However, even when you win as that male animal, the female is the one that still chooses as to whether perhaps she's going to mate with you or not. Even after fighting all the other animals, the female still is the one that makes the choice whether to mate with that male that has come out to be dominant or not to mate with that animal. So therefore, however, in terms of the decision that animal would finally take would be based on whether that female sees that male as being the dominant amongst all the males that exist. Now, let's come to human beings.
Yes.
Human beings, the concept is still the same. The only difference that we don't normally fight against each other as males, but we use different ways of showing dominance. Some use money, they will flash money. They will flash a lot of things to show, or intelligence. And again, when you have time, we can even get deeper into this because there is the hypergamy and there is hypergamy on steroids, which we have in terms of these days, where you would find that people are not able to control their hypergamy. The desire to have the alpha male or the dominant male. Because even with human beings, you seldom find a female that would say, I will want to have a relationship with a male that is lower in terms of my status, where I am as a female, either in terms of qualification or in terms of maybe being able or maybe making money or career or otherwise, or social status. Females normally want to have relationships with men that are actually, or males that are at their level or higher, not lower. Whereas it's a different thing when it comes to males. Males do not really care. They can actually have a relationship with someone that is much lower in terms of their status. In fact, the much lower in their status in terms of males, the better.
Yeah, because you're the dominant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas females do not want to be in a relationship with a male that is weaker than them. And there are a number of reasons. It's a natural instinct. I know, for instance, there could be idealistic people that might disagree with what I'm saying. But what I've found in terms of my research is that even with those idealistic people that say, no, I don't look at that. Deep down, when you really talk to them, they still have the same thing, especially if they are heterosexual females.
So would you say that female hypergamy is actually a natural thing?
It's a natural instinct. People are not aware of it. They don't know as why they're behaving the way that they're behaving. It's a natural instinct. You cannot do away with it, whether you like it or not. And the sooner males can understand it, the better for them. because they're not going to start labeling females and saying they are gold diggers and maybe even, having gender-based violence, hitting them and all that stuff, because it would help them to say, without stereotyping females, but it's a natural instinct that you cannot get rid of. But females, the older they grow, they're able to sort of manage that hypergamy and be able to settle and say, yes, I can see all the other dominant males, but this is the one that I want. So even if another one comes, it's okay. I mean, I'll settle with this one. That's why we have things like marriage, for instance. Marriage is a social construct to tame female hypergamy, but also to tame men's polygamous nature. Because men, there's the converse, where you find that males are polygamous, whereas females are hypergamous. When I say males are polygamous, males, their intention is to spread their seeds far and wide. They can mate with a lot of females. But marriage is brought in as a social construct to tame both hypergamy, female hypergamy, and polygamy.
Now, I want to, understand, how then does hypergamy, female hypergamy, affect men? Because now it always seems like the man must prove, that I am dominant. How does then a gentleman, be able to take in female hypergamy? How do you hold yourself, in order to become that dominant or alpha male?
That's a good question that you're asking. I think guidance is very important, especially with us humans. When I was growing up, and I always say, obviously, when I was growing up, because I'm much older, therefore I've lived, so I've seen things.
Yeah.
We used to have guidance from the elders, and in some instances, because the community was still a community in the true sense of being a community, we didn't have individualistic lives. You would then have examples and role models in terms of the community, in terms of Ntate so and so, this is how he carries himself, or this is how a man is supposed to carry himself. This is how a male is supposed to carry himself. And you would even have some rituals where, for instance, you would have a situation wherein you're being transitioned from being a boy to being a man by the community. And you are educated in terms of what does it mean to be a man. These things no longer happen these days. And that's why a lot of young males are in turmoil, because we don't have that transitioning of young males into being men and being able to understand this is how you act as a man, and so that you can be attractive to the female and be seen as a dominant male. So guidance, therefore, to answer your question, is very important. And the book is meant also to be part of that guidance for you to understand.
So what are, some of the qualities that helps a woman, make a decision to say, this is the man that I want? What do they, sort of look at, especially as humans?
Yeah. You see, it depends on the social status of the female. It's not the same for all female. If you look at hypergamy, there's a hypergamy of a female that stays in the informal settlement. There's a hypergamy of a female that stays in a suburb. Okay, so it's never the same. The one that stays in the informal settlement might be looking at someone who's going to provide food, who's going to provide shelter, and be able to protect her.
And that's it.
Whereas the one in the suburb might be looking at something else. So you just need to understand as to what is this female that I want to get into a relationship looking for. But they are almost common things: leadership, protection, and provision. They are almost common. But as to what provision means for the female in the informal settlement, that would differ from with the woman that stays in the suburb. And also protection would differ between these two women. The same again in terms of, for instance, the leadership.
But also, as you mentioned in the book, that, I think the best way for gents, to become the alpha man is just to take care of yourself.
Exactly. You build your own kingdom. You build your own kingdom. Now, others, build yourself. Build yourself and be okay with who you are. Okay. And confidence and being sure of who you are will attract the relevant female to your life. Okay. But at the same time, build yourself. I know some people, for instance, talk about the fact that we will build life together. And I'm telling you, that is a fallacy. You need to build your kingdom, and then you'll attract the queen to your kingdom. The fact that you say you're going to build something with someone, it's a bit dangerous, but if you feel that that's okay, you can do it if you want to. But as a man, in order for you to be attractive to a female and be able to tame hypergamy, you build your kingdom. Build your kingdom, and then you'll attract the relevant female. Not go around, think, with people, popping champagnes and all that stuff. That doesn't last, because after that, the female is going to say, okay, now I want substance. Yes, you've shown off, but I want substance. What else are you? Will you be able to protect me? Will you be able to provide for me? Will you be able to provide leadership after all these things that you've done?
Is that why, we tend to find, women going, and that is why Jen say they are gold diggers?
Yeah.
Because if you keep flashing money and all of that, and then she moves from here and yours is done, she'll move to another one, always looking for one that's better.
Yeah.
It makes sense now.
Yeah.
I want to speak about a bit of gender-based violence, right? Is female hypergamy, a sort of the cause, of gender-based violence?
It does contribute. That's why I spoke about female hypergamy on steroids. It does contribute. It contributes in two ways. Males who do not understand female hypergamy. And I always talk about a situation where in some males, we lie. When we want a female, sometimes we lie and project, personality that we're not. For instance, that you don't have a lot of money, but you flash things that you don't have. And the female gets attracted to you because maybe she says, okay, this man can provide, whereas you can't provide. And suddenly she discovered that you cannot provide and says, no, but you're not the dominant male that I thought you were. Therefore, let me continue and look for the dominant male. And you get angry and then you start bashing it, hitting it. That's when now you find that there is a contribution in terms of that. But at the same time, you also have a situation wherein some females are not able to control their hypergamy. They, for instance, find that, okay, this male cannot be able to provide, because hypergamy doesn't stay at the standstill, it graduates. I wanted someone that can provide for me, but okay, now I'm fine. I no longer am looking for that. I'm looking for someone that can be able to do something much higher than what I'm looking for. And therefore gets attracted to someone else that can be able to attract. And then again, that causes gender-based violence. And I always say that if men can get this book, we will have less gender-based violence coming from female hypergamy. If they get hold of this book and read it, they will be able to be okay with females in their lives and be able to sort of say, okay, I understand this is female hypergamy. I can be able to sort of manage the situation, or I need to move on because this is hypergamy on steroids. I won't be able to manage it.
No, always interesting one there, I feel like, I'm in class, you're teaching live things, and things that we see around us. But I also think that, I agree with you that people should get the book and understand. In fact, the whole series, I think, because they all play each role and we understand every step, of life. But just lastly, as we wrap up, can you just let our people know where they can get the book still and how they can contact you?
The books are available online on our website, Contemporary Conversations SA. Don't forget the SA. Can get the books. They are very reasonable. Like I said in previous interviews, there is no book that is over 100 rands. They are all 100 rands and below. And they are available on our website, Contemporary Conversations SA. And also we are available on all social media platforms, and people can get hold of me through our social media platforms, Mbulelo Mayikana or Contemporary Conversations SA.
Nice. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always, a pleasant conversation that we're having here. Thank you, Ntate Mbulelo. That was Ntate Mbulelo Maikana. We're talking about one of the books from his series of books, Female Hypergamy. Guys, the way they understand another week understanding, I'm sure you guys can also get more things, but make sure that you do get your books as on all the social media platforms that he's directed you to. But do stay tuned, because we still continue with the program right here on Good Morning GP.
As a parent, you should never put your child first.
I love you. Okay, let's finish.
Don't be so quick to pay the rent.
Let's go.
Sending money home to Uma, that can wait.
I'll send it to you in the next 30 minutes.
Don't even think about paying your employees first. Protect the one thing that takes care of all of that first, your income. Get income protection from Bidvest Life that pays out your monthly income should you not be able to work. Bidvest Life. When life happens, we show up.